we had this collapse. Building up a roof here. See how snug this thing is here? Flip this. You get to feel like a caveman for a second, so. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for watching Wildernesssurvival. A few videos ago, I built a primitive lean-to rock shelter. And many times in videos, I've mentioned that for demonstration purposes, I use dead wood because I don't want to decimate the whole forest. But if you were truly in a situation, you'd want to use live wood. And this is a great example. I left this shelter here. Over a couple weeks, we had a bunch of snow. We had a bunch of windstorms. Everything's melted. New England is very weird. But because I used dead wood, we had this collapse. Now, instead of putting this back together where it's going to collapse again if you keep on using dead wood, make this another type of shelter. You can probably see what I'm going to try to do here. I'm going to use this ridge pole. I started to clean this area up. I'm going to clean it up more and then kind of make a smaller shelter. So let me go ahead and get this thing started. New England really is weird. In March, you might get a couple warm days, things melt. And then you think, oh, the spring's coming, but then the next day, it could be 25 degrees. It's kind of chilly out here. I like the environment, so there's that balance of demonstrating and everything, but at the same time, not coming out here and having no care at all in the world about my effect on the environment. Us humans are already so destructive. One, it's not great for the environment to do it all the time. It's one thing to kind of thin out the forest and pick specific types of trees that you can tell in the future aren't going to grow well. There's a difference between that and just decimating the forest completely in order to have like a perfect looking place. Let's be honest, most of us aren't ever going to be in a situation where we have to sit and wait for rescue for 2 months. It's usually a span of like a week, so you got to think about that when building a shelter and everything. It may be more logical to not expend so many calories and to just build the type of shelter you need in order to survive, as opposed to, you know, what's it going to look like when the rescue people come down? Are they going to end up wanting to take pictures and post it on Facebook or Instagram? Because there's definitely that struggle that people on YouTube that we have, you know what I mean? Of course, we want to make it look unbelievable, but what's most important is demonstrating what would help you survive, not what would help you be popular, I guess. Maybe tough to see, but my raised bed is still actually here, so I'm actually already up off the ground. Clean up a little bit of this debris. It's a little bit of a mess, but it's a little insulated already. It's a lot easier to work on shelters when there's no snow on the ground, for sure. So, just like in the last shelter, we're gonna take straight pieces and we're gonna start building up a roof here. Fun. Very prehistoric and primitive, but very fun. Just piling up sticks, but feels therapeutic. The simplicity of building a primitive shelter. Very nice. A small shelter is a good shelter. You can already see the stuff filling in right here. I'm gonna grab a few more pieces and then just grab the debris. Just like many types of primitive shelters, debris huts and everything, you just grab leaves and debris, put it over here, make sure this structure is nice and strong. I kind of reinforce this over here, and I actually will potentially be warmer right under here, be able to have a fire. This is pretty much perfect as far as giving yourself just the amount of space that you need if you need it to stay warm. This would definitely be cozy and would help you out with the wind. So let's go ahead and finish this up. Put a few more pieces here and everything. We'll pile on the debris. We'll have ourselves a quick little shelter. What you gonna do when you're out in the woods? Hanging out doing a little bit of shelter here. Then you're gonna have... We already got this stuff close by. This will be a piece of cake to be able to get the debris. That should be enough right there. Now, even though we're not using the rock for heat this time, this definitely is going to help block some of the wind. So that's definitely a benefit of having the rock behind this shelter right here. If you're not using it for heat, you can use it to block the wind. Lost a few of these in the collapse. Gonna go search for a few more pieces and then we're good to go. How snug this thing is here. Just enough room. My big ass feet. Here we go. Just enough room to be cozy here. Very small, but you want to be able to retain your heat. You'd get a fire going right over here, and this is a great way to improvise. If you come to your shelter and it's all messed up, it's just also an example of a type of quick, easy shelter. Sometimes you expect to go out into the woods with a certain plan, but you always have to expect the unexpected. So I'm glad that I used quick thinking and thought, let me build. The second that I saw this in the formation, I thought, ooh, I can end up building a nice little primitive half lean-to. I forget what the heck this is called, but I'm sure many of you guys have seen this type of structure before. We're not utilizing the heat of the rocks behind me. However, where it's helping us block the wind, this isn't too bad. It's obviously small, but I can tell that it's definitely going to block the wind better than even that bigger primitive lean-to shelter. That's very nice. There we go. That's pretty good. As long as I keep the fire contained, I'd want to actually bring it a little bit closer here. But after a while, the coals are going to develop and it's going to be extra warm. It's going to be good. You know what I'm talking about, after hours of getting the fire going and you got those strong coals. I decided to cook a nice beautiful T-bone steak here. I don't know if this is ready here. I'll flip this. It's good enough. Woo-wee! I know it's so cliche, folks. How many times you see people eating steak in the woods? You know why? Because it's freaking delicious. That's why we see so many people bringing steak out into the woods. There's something primitive and beautiful about eating a hunk of meat at a campfire for thousands of years. This is how we survived. We've spent more time on Earth surviving and every night being near a warm fire as opposed to all the time that we've had technology. So it's in our instinct, and that's why a lot of us just love this simplicity. A nice warm fire. This shelter definitely actually feels like it's doing its job. I don't feel any wind. I'm pretty cozy, and like I said earlier, the smaller the shelter, the better it retains your heat. Of course, this fire is vital right here, but I definitely feel pretty comfortable, and as long as I just stayed up and I fed the fire, I'd be doing pretty okay. So nice quick way to be able to stay